she says something sucked at her beauty. Is the eyes specifically. That could be the Valg.
Could you imagine if there's a Valg prince living in her who's doing all of this and it's not her?
That Dorian ring is actually a Valg ring. It's just she just put a
Wild. Welcome back to the Book Breathing Bitch Queens podcast. I'm Sam.
And I'm Allie. And this week we're jumping into chapter 33 and 34. And these are the 33 is pretty short. It's basically just Alice walking Feyre to the cave and giving her a last warning and their little conversation, and then into the cave. And then 33 ends with her getting caught by the attor, and then we were like, we can't stop there because obviously it's just getting started. And so in 34 we get dragged by the attor into the throne room, meet Amarantha, and we see Tamlin and his motionless face.
Uh-huh.
um and all the Amarantha being herself and being scary and whatever. We see Claire and her body, and all the things click into place about how that happened. And then we get the bargain, and the mention of a riddle, though we don't get the riddle this chapter. But she we get all the things set in motion. The three trials are established. Feyre's trying to lawyer up her brain as best she can to try and not get caught in any loopholes. Notice she didn't say anything about keeping Tamlin alive, just that she would
Uh-huh.
get him.
There are
And
so many loopholes
yeah,
in
it's
this bargain, and we will discuss.
yeah. But anyway, so they set that up, and then she's gonna get more details later, but for now she got to get beat. So it ends with her getting just beat up. And you know yeah, we get the ending line: blood sprayed from my mouth and its metallic tang coated my tongue, for I knew no
Hmm.
more.
Okay,
We'll talk about that line.
but before we jump into it, so I have been rereading Throne of Glass, mostly because I am in my full ADHD spiral and I don't want to start anything new. I need some comfort read, and Throne of Glass is that it is, and my husband's letting me read to him, so it's like a whole different journey that like maybe I'll talk about another time on the
Yeah.
podcast. But I have some mini theories.
Yeah,
So
so this will be like a segment that we do
yeah,
probably until you're done with the series. So we can,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe we can call it like Sam's Throne of Glass.
yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
So
Anyway, yeah, let's hear it.
I don't know if I fully subscribe to the theory that like all of these books take place on the same planet at different times.
Yes.
However, if we're going to try to assume that this is the same location, just different times, there's an interesting ish, kind of far fetched, but possible theory that I have. So if you look at the map of Erlea, and you look, and I know other people have done this, right? They've looked at the borders, they've done like really wild, crazy, amazing things with the maps. So like it's not an outlandish theory. Other people have been looking at this, but the map of Erlea, if you remove the Western Waste and the Frozen Wastes, it looks a lot like the map of ACOTAR, right? It looks like what's left from Terrasen all the way down to Elway would be Prithian, and then the deserted lands would end up being Highburn
If they had like broken off.
if they
Yeah,
had broken off, which could possibly explain, I don't know how, but could explain why there's
maybe
no
that.
witches in ACOTAR, because the witches are from the Frozen Wastes. So if we're going
Hmm.
to assume that that's what that is, Rifthold is near center-ish of the continent of Erelea. And if we were to line up the maps, the very top part of where it might not line up perfectly. So, because there's also mountains there. So, my original thought was that Rifthold could fall into Autumn Court territory if you line the maps up. It looks like it might actually be slightly more north in the Winter Court because of the mountain range. But I mean, there's mountains on the border of autumn and winter as well. So if we, right, possibly could line up Rifthold with Autumn Court, the story of Throne of Glass starts in the autumn. And so
Hmm.
much of the imagery that she's talking about when she's entering back into Rifthold and when she's beginning her training, that's Selena, is constantly reminding us fall, autumn, the crunching of leaves, the burnt
Mhm.
orange, everything. So I thought it was an interesting place to be like, huh, is that a nod, or is this just like you got to start somewhere and so fuck it? But I thought it was kind of interesting. That's not my big theory though. That was my little note, and I just want to kind of keep that in the back pocket.
Mhm.
Bigger theories are of lineage. So we've talked about how we think that Tamlin has Aelin vibes. Okay. I think it goes back further. So I don't think that there's going to be necessarily direct lines between like Aelin and Tamlin, or even Aelin and Lydia. It says that Brannon, right? So his mate is Mala, the goddess who binds herself in a human body, and they have Elena. But it also says that she gave him a number of children. Sorry. Yes, she gave him a number of children. So Elena presumably has siblings. That opens the door for all sorts of nonsense. But even if we just operate on Brannon and Elena, his daughter, Brannon is given the fire power from Mala. Aelin is the descendant of Mala. That's why she also has this power. Mala, her like sigil or whatever, were the sun stags, these sacred sun stags that Brannon steals and brings to Terrasen. It's the ones that have the stags that have the fire in between the antlers. He brings them to Terrasen, and he founds Terrasen with these stags. These are the sacred stags that he puts in the Temple of Mala in Terrasen. So, yes, Tamlin could be a descendant of Aelin, but if we back this up further and not make a direct line to Aelin, it could be just a descendant. Like if we kind of zoomed out, Tamlin could be a descendant of Brannon, which, yes, he would be a descendant of Aelin as well, possibly or not possibly, right? Like depending upon how the world or whatever. But I think that we're thinking too closely. We're like, oh, that's Aelin vibes, that's Aelin vibes. It's Brannon vibes.
I think the real thing is because it's all the I think the biggest thing that the biggest Tamlin thing is maybe his shape shifting, but also his green and gold, right? And that's Ash River. So is Brandon, where does Ash River come from?
Okay.
Okay.
Uh Ash River is Brannon's last name.
Oh,
No,
I thought
it's
it was
Galthinius.
Galathinius.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Galthinius. I'm sorry. It's Galthinius. I don't know where the fuck Ash River comes from. Not worried about that. But his is
Okay.
Galthinius. The shifting comes from Mala as well. So when Mala she has two
Oh.
powers. She has the fire power, and then she has like the brute strength power, and she can shift, right? That's part of her thing. She can shift it because she's a goddess. She can shift into anything. And so when
Oh, I didn't know that.
Elena marries Gavin, who is a Haviliard, she
Oh.
has given the descendants the power of both fire and shapeshifting. That's why Aelin and Dorian are two sides of those powers. So the Haviliard line is the brute strength, and they have the shifting powers that they get from the Mala descent, right? And then they also have the fire side of things. So Aelin gets primarily Galthinius fire yielding powers. She gets the stag representation, where Dorian gets the brute, the raw power is literally how it's described, is this raw power and shifting powers.
How does he get shifting powers? Did he already have did he always have them?
That's part of his line. That's part of
Oh.
when Elena and Gavin Havillard joined, their kids had like that's how that happened.
Mm. For some reason I thought that was just him like making like the
Using that as like
using his raw power.
it's a
No, it's actually
separate
a
sort of, it's its
specific.
own sort of thing.
I still have so many questions about what raw power is, dude.
So Tamlin is
Okay.
discussed in terms of
Shifting.
shifting. He is power. I know we talk about the High Lords, but like
Mhm.
constantly, he's like Tamlin is power, right?
Mhm.
And he has all these fucking green and gold fucking Galthinius
Yeah.
vibes,
I mean,
right?
he is color coded more than any other character at all.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it feels
So
overt.
So I think it would be wise to keep in mind that maybe not just connecting main characters, but connecting their lineage, right?
Yeah.
And that's not to say that he can't also be sort of direct. I mean, he would be related to Aelin, but I don't know if it's like her descendant or
Hmm.
if it's or if they are descendants of Elena and Gavin, the same way that like Aelin and Dorian are descendants but not related. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Lydia, two theories. Either she says that she's a descendant from Brannon, right? This old fae with fucking fire in his veins or whatever, right? She names her son Brannon, same whatever. So we know that she connects her descent to Brannon, and we all assume hard Aelin vibes, right? She turns into a fucking hind. She's got firepower. She's blonde, right? All the things. She's basically Crescent City's Aelin, right? But and she's a fucking assassin. Like, let's be real. That's what she is.
Yeah.
But what if she is not Aelin's descendant, but she is Dorian's descendant? Because
Because
she
Brandon
has,
is also
because
Dorian's, right?
Brannon is Dorian's descendant.
Oh, it's the first
She
my
has
brain
the
doesn't work.
ability to shift, which is a Dorian attribute, not an Aelin. And she has witch blood. So what happens if Dorian and Manon have
Mm-hmm.
descendants and she's that line? She's the Havilliard, the Dorian Havilliard line,
Mm.
not the Aelin Galthinius line. But because
Mm.
their lines both go back to Brannon, that's how she
Yeah.
has the stag, the Brannon, the fire, the stuff.
Yeah. We need to make like a graphic with
A
like
fucking family tree
here's
puzzle.
Brandon, here's all the
Yeah,
branches, like somebody
yeah,
it's out there, we need to like aggregate it.
yeah.
Dude, yes, it does hurt my brain
So
to
now
think
I've
about
just
that.
been fucking like doom scrolling Brannon fucking shit because I'm like, who's this guy? What's his story? Let me remind myself. What's all the things? Like all the craziness. He's from uh Windlin, right? He was a bastard born there.
He was
Gavin
Brandon?
was. Gavin. Yes, yeah, sorry, I
Oh.
lied. Brannon was. Brannon was bastard born from Windlin, and he met Mala, and she fell in love with him. Or she, yeah, whatever. She's a goddess, so she sees him, she's interested, whatever. She creates herself a fey body, and they're mates, and then she has to give up all of her body and her immortal or her mortal life to become the lock. When
Yeah.
she does that, she goes back to being like a goddess in the afterlife, whatever.
Huh. Wow. I forgot so
But
much.
he's bastard born. He's nobody, and he's gifted this power of fire. And then like runs in the ranks because he joins forces with Maeve to fight the Valg. But then when he's doing shit with Maeve and starts realizing Maeve's got her own ulterior motives, that's when he starts creating locks and shit.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyways, those are my theories that
Okay.
we're looking to like in the case of Tamlin, I think we're trying to draw too many straight lines from like him and Aelin. I'm
Yeah.
thinking we need to go further back and
Hmm.
start looking at Brannon and Aelin and Elena and Gavin and the shape shifting aspect of all of the things and start thinking that Tamlin's last name might actually be fucking Havilliard. Could you imagine?
I
Could
don't
you
know Tamlin's last
imagine
name.
Tamlin Havilliard? Could you imagine?
Oh my god.
And then maybe closing up the scope for Lydia, because Lydia draws her, she's like, oh, I'm a descendant from this long guy Brannon, but maybe we can draw shorter lines between her and Dorian and Manon.
Yeah, I'm looking up House Ashriver right now. Just seems like, yeah, it's the ruling family of Wendelin, descends from Queen Mab. Okay, so Havilliard on one side, and then Mab Ashriver on the other. Hmm.
But Wendelin is where Brannon is originally from. He's a bastard born there, so he's not an Ash River.
No. Brandon Galathinius, was
Yeah,
the
okay.
Fae King, founder of Terrasen. Yeah. He fought the Val with Maeve and Wendelin before emigrating west. Elena was half Fae.
Because her and we're thinking, oh, half Fae and mortal. No, half Fae and mortal goddess. Her mom is Mala,
Oh yeah, yeah.
who is a goddess who tied herself to a mortal body so that she can be with
Yeah.
Brannon.
You know, honestly, Tamlin's there's probably some other Galathinius who could have married an Ash driver, like
Yeah,
other. right?
Well,
And then
and
maybe he's just like one of like because he said there's a bunch of other kids.
yeah, because it says that Mala and Brannon had a number of children, one of them being Elena.
Yeah. Because I'm just trying to think like maybe if Tamlin is from Brandon, but also a Nash driver, because that green and gold is really one of the strongest things. So I'm still like clinging to that a little bit. But like
I agree
if
with
it's a
that.
ruling family, it's probably a huge. It could just be someone, another Galathinius who married
Ooh,
a
ooh, sorry.
Nash
The
driver.
biggest Tamlin one, sorry, for him being a descendant of Elena, is that Elena smells like roses. Over and over and over and over, she smells like
That's so
roses.
random.
When the door opens and she gets a whiff of roses, Selena gets a whiff of roses from that secret door in her room. And then when she enters into the room with the sarcophagi, she's like, it's dry in here and it's not gross and wet and damp and yucky. It smells of roses over and over and over again.
That is
Elena smells of roses.
that I God damn it. We should just do a read or something.
Yeah.
Jesus. Huh.
Over and over and over again. I think it's mentioned like 4 times in the course of like 2 chapters.
That
Smells of
is
roses.
weird.
Yeah. Forgot
Okay.
the biggest one. My fucking idiot brain. Yes.
Wow. Okay. We gotta make a little
Yeah.
that's what we
It's
need to do.
gonna be
I'll get on
I'm
Canva.
gonna yeah, we're getting on Canva and fucking mind map this shit.
I would be like, yeah. Damn, okay. I love
Yeah.
that. Dude, that is fun. Um,
Also saw this theory. This is not my theory,
mhm,
but the ironwood bed
mhm.
that is the inherent like the family heirloom of Feyre's family. The girls sleep in it, her
Like the
mom,
only
yada
thing they
yada.
keep from their rich house.
Ironwood is what witches make their brooms out of.
Yeah, yeah. We have talked about that before.
Yeah, but
I
like
just
kind of confirmed it with some actual. I think we like mentioned it, but yes, that's what it is. How it's talked about in the book.
that is so funny. We'll have to keep that. We'll have to keep that and keep you
And now
report back
every
as we read.
doorway I look at, I'm like crazy paying attention to like what does she call it, right? Because when Aylin's walking underneath the into her like into the chamber, the secret chamber, and she's like walking around, she keeps saying she doesn't say hallways, she doesn't even say doorways, she says portals
Hmm.
constantly. And we have gate references all over the place. So I'm just looking for gates and portals everywhere. So I'm gonna be
Yeah.
annoying, I'm sure, with being like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we get a little bit of that. I know that it's like fresh in my mind, the Throne of Glass stuff, and like I did just read of Aelin like kind of walking through this like underground maze of sorts, and here we are in an sort of cave system. So just bear in mind that those two things are very fresh in my mind at the same time. So trying not to be like, but
Is it? Yeah.
this chapter and like the chapter I just read in Throne of Glass has that same kind of like underground, what's around the next corner, where are we going, which path do we take kind of stuff. And also there's lots of engravings on the walls in both places.
Yes. No, and the under the mountain in like the night court, that place, they
Yeah.
have very similar vibes to like Throne of Glass, and I think that's intentional. Okay.
All right, do we want to actually jump into chapter 33 now?
Yeah. I feel like this the opening line is like, we're shifting where Feyre the gentle Feyre who wears dresses is gone, and now we're back
Mhm.
to like starvation mode. I'm gonna get some shit done, Feyre.
Yeah.
But also kind of she still gives me High Lady of vibes because I think maybe just knowing that that's her like ultimate destiny or whatever. Maybe that's why I'm reading into that. But
Well, it's kind of coming. It's starting to close that circle a bit, where we begin with a huntress who is just trying to survive and trying to keep her family alive. To now she's entering back into a huntress role, also
mhm,
still trying to survive and trying to save the one she loves. It's a very
yeah,
different sort of like. It's not out of obligation. Now it's out of love, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
My first note is when she recalls the Suriel's words. So if you have something before that, you start.
Yeah, I just had noted that she said. She had her weapons, and then she said it was better than nothing, even if I was going up against fairies who'd been born knowing how to kill. And I was just like, that kind of thing just gives me the ick because it
Yeah.
just is like, nobody's born a bad person or knowing how to kill. And I'm sure, it was more just like scary, but probably it's propaganda too.
A little bit of propaganda, but I also think it speaks a little bit to like the animalistic, because she says fairies, not fae, and fairies have more of this nature, animalistic, instinctual thing about them, right? The naga is much more closely related to an animal than it would be to like humans or even high fae.
Yeah.
And so
Well, it's
maybe that's
still,
kind of what she means, right?
yeah.
Like she's a human entering a lion's den who's born
Yeah.
knowing how to kill, right? Which we could talk about, like we can go
I
full
think
nat
I just my
Geo with
red
it.
flags go
But
off
yeah,
of
it is. It
what
definitely
any
it definitely
animation
has
stuff.
some like it has some like villainization and some bias inherent in that, being like
Yeah.
these are evil
Fair.
creatures and they're born with this malice in them, and you're like, that's not how that works. Um
Yeah.
but yeah.
But anyway, so I just was like, "Oh, I never noticed this line before." But fair. It's just the circumstances, what she's expects of them, and
Mhm.
she doesn't say hi Faye necessarily. But I don't want to dehumanize the other Faye. But you're right. Naga are they're still pretty human, but they definitely have those kinds of monster scary vibes. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what she's talking about. Anyway,
So
just note it.
yeah.
And then the stillness was the other
Yeah.
thing. Is
Silent
like,
woods. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah,
We don't ever also figure out where, like, so it's in the spring court that this shortcut exists, right?
yes,
Okay. Okay, so we get another nod to the Suriel's words. Stay with the High Lord, stay with the High Lord, over and over and over again, right? We get it here, and immediately following that line, we get night. Stay with the High Lord, the Suriel had said. Stay with him, fall in love with him, and all would be righted. If I had stayed, if I had admitted what I'd felt, none of this would have happened. The world steadily filled with night
yeah,
right afterwards. So like already working those
yeah,
subtle, that's the real High Lord stuff. I thought that was smart.
yeah. The joining of
Mhm. I was in a Throne of Glass mode when it says I stopped between in the hollow between two hills. The air was cold, far colder than the air at the top of the hill. Um, right, Selena underneath the stuff. It's cold underground, but I don't know. I like to note when temperatures dramatically change. Um, She's also going to be she's entering into a cave, and it's much colder in the cave. It is a shortcut passage, portal, gate, something straight to under the mountain. So interesting that it gets very cold there.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
and cold spots are kind of like ghost hunters. Like
Yeah.
ghosts are supposed to be cold
Well, and
spots.
and hell
But
in Crescent City is cold
yeah, yeah.
and
So
Valgor cold.
and I do wonder how do you get something to be a magical shortcut? It kind of gives the feel that the whole land has like been crafted in a certain by I don't know. And I realize it could also just be like, no, it's because caves are cold because they don't have sunlight, blah blah blah. Sure, like maybe it's just freaking geology, but
Okay.
yeah, the cold seemed very kind of poignant.
Mm-hmm. All dark and miserable roads lead under the mountain. Interesting.
Yeah,
Which could just be a turn of phrase like all roads lead to Rome, yada yada.
yeah,
Fine.
it seemed like that.
But it's kind of a poignant line there. It's an ancient shortcut, once considered sacred, but no more.
No more, yeah.
So there
Just
is
because Amarantha made it unsacred, or
I
is there
mean, I
another
don't know,
reason?
but there is a sacred passage in Springcourt.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Just and I of course wrote portal or gate question mark next to
yeah.
all of it, right?
No, because it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but in terms of portals, I always thought that when she took this, maybe she does. You're right. I think she does take the spring court gate, but instead of she can either like go to autumn under the mountain, or she could
Mhm.
go to autumn. So I think that's what she does. But maybe it can be taken to
Because
multiple
Lucian knows how to
places.
go. Lucian takes her.
Yeah, I just thought it was like, oh, you take this
Because I
fork
remember
instead
when
of the
she
other
goes to
fork.
yeah, because when she goes to enter, she's like real reluctant, and Lucian's like, "This is the fastest way. Like,
Yeah,
follow me, and I'll take you to Autumn Court." So maybe there's a, you know,
yeah,
an
that is
earlier off ramp to Autumn Court.
yeah, I assume so. Oh, I also thought it was interesting how Alice. It says this is before, but it says Alice, led me through the silent woods and foothills, pausing every so often to listen to alter our course. Wait, where does it say this? Says somewhere that she like, oh yeah, Alice pressed on, never once looking back to see that I followed. And I was like, maybe she probably can just hear her or smell her or something.
Yeah,
But then I also like, maybe just is she like feel bad and she doesn't want to change her mind, so she don't look at her, or is she trying to show her that like people aren't gonna take it easy? I don't know. I just thought it was like an interesting like
I think
moment.
it's
But I'm
yeah.
sure she
I
does probably
mean,
feel guilty, but it also is like if anyone's gonna help us, although does she really think that Feyre can do something? That's the thing. She kind of knows she should in all likeliness be driving Feyre to death.
I think that she is not letting herself have hope, but that it's still kind of there, right? Because she keeps saying, like, this is a death wish. You'll be lucky to get a clean death. This is stupid, blah, blah, blah. But she
Mm,
still gives her advice and she still wishes her luck. So I think it's
yeah,
both. I think that if this chapter was from Alice's point of view, I think we would have a lot of the same narration where, like, Feyre's like, I got to keep going or I'm going to lose my nerve. That might be Alice, where she's like, she wants
yeah.
to do it. She wants to do it. She's going to do it regardless. At least I can take her there safest. If I look back at her face, I'm going to lose it and I'm going to tell her no and I'm going to tell her to run. But if this is what she wants, this is what she wants, I'm going to do it. She's asking, blah, blah. And like, I think she's probably trying to have to like convince herself to keep
Mhm.
moving forward. Um,
Really,
and I
there's
think,
no reason a human should be able to do anything. But
yeah.
maybe she just is like, maybe she thinks that like, oh, fate brought her here and fate brought her
Mm-hmm.
back, and
Yeah.
so maybe it's some of that, or maybe she like even just senses that there's something about Feyre, like
Well, or
because
she's
Alice
like,
seems interestingly perceptive. She's always
she
getting
does.
away at the nick of time, and
Mhm.
so maybe, yeah,
That
maybe she senses something in
or
her,
maybe she is like
and she guesses in the second book too.
she's going to do this. She will find her way under the mountain,
Yeah,
and I can at least get her under the mountain, and the best we can hope for is a clean death. That if that's what it is, that she'll show up, Tamlin will see her, she'll die quickly, and at least it won't be from the elements, at least it won't
mhm,
be from the wilderness, at least it won't be in Autumn Court, at least it won't be blah blah blah. At least giving I'm going to at least give her a chance to die the way she wants to.
do you think she wanted her to get there so that Tamlin would see her? And maybe she's trying to motivate Tamlin and being like, "You
Because he
look,
doesn't
I this
fucking
girl
do
was
any
gonna get me either way. She might have
Yeah.
died in the forest trying to walk here, but I'm just gonna get her here. And if she dies in front of you, maybe you'll fucking realize that you should have done something."
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
because she seems like that. Okay, that seems like something she might do. It's
And she's
crazy.
like,
I don't know.
if this human girl has enough balls to go under the mountain and go up against our kind, knowing that she's going to die anyways, the least
Yeah.
you can do is fucking blink at us, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Okay, sorry, not to, but I just was like the looking
And
back
like
thing. I was like,
look at the
looking.
perseverance and resilience of this human girl.
Yeah.
Look what you did, Tamlin. You made someone fall in love with you, whatever, yada yada, word choice, right?
Yeah.
This human girl fell in love with you and is willing to go up against this to try to save
Yeah.
you. What are you willing to
Yeah.
do for your people, Tamlin? Yeah.
That is interesting. Okay. Anyway, so
I find
yeah.
her warning to be interesting, right?
Yes.
Don't drink the wine. It's not like what we had on Solstice, and will do more harm than good. Fine, we already know that that's a fucking foreshadowing because she's going to drink all the wine. Don't make deals with anyone unless your life depends on it. Immediately, we get a bargain. And even then, consider whether it's worth it. And most of all, this is what's interesting. Don't trust a soul there, not even your Tamlin.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
it could be, right?
Hmm.
Don't trust a soul there, not even your Tamlin, because Rhysand is there and there's mind controlling happening and yada yada yadas, right?
Hmm.
Because she says, right, your senses are your greatest enemies and they will be waiting to betray you. So she's like, don't trust anybody down there, not even Tamlin, because even his senses are gonna be his biggest betrayer. Because
Hmm.
because they know that they have Rhys, right? That there
Yeah.
is mind control powers within access on the quote unquote side of Amarantha. So maybe it's just that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe
Okay.
it's you. I mean, I don't know what it is, but just the fact that this person who has shown constant loyalty to Tamlin, constant like faith that he's the only one that can do anything and that he will save them and yada yada. She's always talking, has good things to say about Tamlin, or at least not bad things.
Yeah.
That she's like, don't trust a soul there, not even Tamlin.
Mm.
And I think it's the best advice she can get because the first thing we see is that he's already up on the fucking throne and she can't trust him to stick up for her.
Yeah. I had different thoughts about this, but you're right. Maybe she's trying to tell her that it's like maybe she knew that Timon would like pretend to ignore her and that she was like, just that's not really what it seems like.
Yeah.
Um my thing was that no, if it's Tamlin, it seems like Tamlin's just it's not like a senses thing. It seems like he's just putting on a show, right? So I was thinking like this is a very stern warning at an incredibly pivotal moment in the series. This is the turning point. There's no going back after this. She becomes Fae after this. This is it, right? And this is this warning that we get that's very strongly worded. And we never get a betrayal of the senses. We never don't like there's no everything that happens is outright. It's Amarantha maybe twisting a bargain, but that's not like a census thing. And it's not
Yeah.
like
I
the
mean,
trusting
maybe
a person. She knows not to trust Amarantha. The only person that she trusts is Rhys. And if there's now not to serve the Rhys is evil people, but like I could see like this is like the big moment in the series, and maybe in the final book we get her remembering when some I hate even I don't like this theory, but like maybe Reese does something, betrays her, and these words play in her head again, and she's like, I was told not to trust a soul under the mountain, and then I've done all this. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, I don't really think that because
my
it does not
only
seem the
my
vibes, but
I mean,
it's there in the text. It's like,
I can't
mhm,
I can't imagine
I can't imagine that.
having someone create a character that the world is I mean, that would be fucking intense to like make them big baddie. Also,
I think it
and
could
I
feel
just
cheap because of
it
all the
would
stuff
feel
that's happened
cheap,
since.
but also I feel like it would completely I mean, it would just like it would be such a fuck and I mean from like a creative standpoint, you're like, hell yeah, I fucking ruined them, right? Like that's
Well,
some
and that's
fucking George R.
also
R. Martin shit. But it would be so undermining of like the beauty of 54 and 55, but like a
yeah.
54, right? The just the beauty of how she put it all together, how this is faded, yada yada. And I keep coming back to like, if he is the big baddie, why give her high lady powers? Right? Like, what is that end goal game that he's like hoping that she'll side with him, right? That she
Mm.
also becomes a big baddie or whatever. But like, I just can't imagine him going through all this trouble to like fuck up her senses and completely like rewrite all of the things and be brainwashing and be mind controlling and yada yadas and give her concrete power.
Well,
If
and
there
he
was not
doesn't.
concrete power, he does.
Well, she already has her power, and we assume that being made High Lady gives her some extra power, but we have does he actually give her more power, or is she just using the power
But
that
she
she
has,
was given by
but
being made for it by the Seven High Lords, and instead it's her allegiance as High Lady that's
yeah,
shifted?
she has political power. She
Okay.
would be able to make political authoritative
Yes.
choices for the night court that could undermine him. If
Yeah.
he's a big bad, if he's Valg, if he's extra big bad,
Mhm.
then then she could end up fighting him and be a like formidable opponent
Yeah.
because of the power she has from being made and from having this political power.
Mhm.
If there was a way where he didn't give that to her, where he didn't constantly call her his equal, where he didn't let her get like, could you imagine if she was like, I want the night court tattoos on me, and he was like, you can't get rid of those, and she's like, I want them anyways, and he's like, I think it's a bad idea. That's a fucking red flag. But he doesn't,
That's
right?
I mean, unless he's, like, so evil that he doesn't care, but I just can't see it,
But like
but it's
Erwin wouldn't have done that with Maeve. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't have shared his shit with her,
well,
even
but
when
I
she
do
was his
think
queen
it
and his
kind of is in
wife.
Reese's character to think that he can control all outcomes. And so but I just don't think so. I don't think she would do that, and also I would hate it if she did that. But I do think Reese is the type that probably, if he really is evil this whole time, he is full confidence in himself.
We would have to change the name of our podcast and we would just talk about Carissa Broadbent.
It would be crazy, but I
Would be
gotta serve
crazy.
even the theories I hate because
I
it's
know, I know. I
I
mean, we have to sit with them. We can't just
it
nitpick the things
does
that we like.
kind of just feel like she just made it too ominous or something, and
I
it's
well, and
just
I
there to
think
build
I
some
think that if
tension.
Rhys is Valg, which I don't necessarily think, although he does have
Yeah,
good Daglan fucking Valg vibes, but if
yeah.
he
I don't think
is,
that makes him evil, for the
I
record.
don't think, and I think that that's the point of it. I
Yeah.
think that we need to stop assuming, like you said before, that creatures are created with malice and created evil, that
Mhm.
even the Valg chose Rhys's choice,
Yeah,
right? Chose those endeavors,
yeah.
right? The Asteri could easily be like, you know what, this is fucked up. Let's not do this. It's within them to choose to do good, and they decide
Mhm.
not to. That they're power hungry, and I think that that could be
Yeah,
the only way that you can make, not the only way, but that could be the way that you can make Rhys Valg
yeah.
and then spin that on its head and still stick with choice as being Rhys's like central fucking tenant,
Mhm.
that even though he has this thing in him that has served as an evil for worlds, that he chooses to not do that.
Yeah. And
And
that's
that
why
he
yeah,
chooses his home and he chooses to serve his home as opposed to conquering his home.
yeah.
And I think
That's
all
what
of
I
those
think.
through lines would still work.
Mhm. Yeah. And, maybe even a wording like this would still work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Anyway.
Sorry, that was a long side note. We get a very clear there's still one more secret, and I don't remember this being in the book
Yeah, I
at
didn't remember it
all.
either.
Um, and I can't decide if it is a wise writing choice or a not wise writing choice. And I think it's a wise one because we would never have ever thought to keep looking for something. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I thought it was interesting. And then it's like, well, then why? I mean, I guess because Amarantha doesn't want her to know all the things or whatever. But the magic system is interesting where it's just like, even now my bones are crying out of mentioning it. One part you have to figure out on your own, one part she, that she doesn't want you to know if I can't say it. And so
I
it's just an interesting magic that, like, if Amarantha is not interested in her knowing, then the magic just knows not to tell her. Like, I don't know. The magic
well,
system's
and
a
I thought
little
the curse was gone away because the time period had gone is up, and so why would that still, like
because the last trial is that she has to stab him in his heart. And if she
but
already
she
knows,
goes here and she establishes that technically the original curse is done, so it shouldn't, you know?
well, yeah. So the original curse is why she could talk about it, because the original curse is the find the girl to love and yada yada. Maybe when she bound his magic is when she turned his heart to stone, and that's why she can't say anything about it, because that's part of the original curse binding.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. But
Yeah.
clearly, this is her nodding to, like, he has a heart of stone. Listen to everything. Remember all the things.
Yeah. This is how Feyre realizes at the very end. Um,
Yeah. But keep keep your ears open, girl. Listen to what you hear. Which is also interesting that, like, later Elaine says that she can hear his heart through the stone. Not Tamlin's. She says it to Lucian. But another, like, listening moment.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Which I don't love the Tamlin Elaine theories, but again, we have to serve even the ones we don't like. Okay. 2 things a little bit lower on this page still, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Once you retrieve them, so Feyre's talking to Alice at this point. She's talking about the boys. Once you retrieve them, if you and your nephews need somewhere to flee, cross the wall, go to my family's house. I told her the location. Ask for Nesta, my eldest sister. She knows who you are. She knows everything. She will shelter you in any way that she can. First thing, and I fucking hate this theory, but Alice knows where the sisters live.
No. Like how I knew exactly what you're talking about. That you think she told Ianthe. No, Ianthe knows because she asked Feyre where she wants to get, where should we send the
Yeah,
wedding
and I
invitations
know,
to?
like Feyre says over and over again. I told Ianthe everything. I told her about my
Mhm.
sisters. They, she knows, and she tells her whole backstory. And then
Yeah.
when the sisters come out of the cauldron, she's like, "I was so fucking stupid. I told Ianthe everything. Yada yada. I told him where to find him." But it's still interesting that, like, I'm just keeping tabs here.
She
That the
does
only
know.
people who know where Nesta and Elaine are Tamlin, Ianthe, and Alice.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And Alice dips right before
What do you mean?
she leaves, right?
No, not in
Oh,
Missing Fury.
sorry, no, the sisters have already changed because
Yeah,
that's in
she
the
leaves
third
in
book when she goes. She leaves in the
Akawar.
third. Yeah, okay, yeah. But even
Um,
no, she fucking knows. I don't like the
yeah,
theory, and I
it's
don't think it's a real
interesting.
theory. But I just for
Have we heard Alice
just
since?
no, just for sleuthing purposes,
Yeah,
we need to know who knows
who
the thing,
knows?
and Alice
Yeah.
knows the location
Well,
and the
and like
name.
Lucian and Dorian and Vasa are like right in that area, so maybe Alice is like maybe we'll see her in the 6th book.
Maybe.
I don't think she would go to human lands, but maybe she
I don't
would.
think so. No, at this point, I think she went back. Doesn't it say she went back to winter? Isn't there like a moment of her like?
She's from
uh
Summer.
Sorry, that's what I mean. Summer. I mean, here's the thing. I love a theory or a novella or something about Alice. I love the idea that there's
Yeah.
some like magical intuition, but I also think
Ah.
that Alice, she's a good archetype for an oppressed group of peoples who are highly vigilant, have already had to hide family members and get them out, and like being aware of the world around you because shit has already hit the fan, because she's already lost her sisters, because she's already had to smuggle her boys. That, like, yes, that could have just been a moment where like there's this magical intuition and she knows and she has foresight or whatever. But I
Mhm.
think it could just be the archetype of a character who's already been through refugee like political trauma,
Yeah.
who knows how to be plugged in, who knows the warning signs, which we should all be thinking about warning signs,
Mhm.
and knowing when to get the fuck out of a place because shit is getting
Y-
authoritative. Shit's getting weird.
yeah, she definitely has that kind of vibe.
And she has a
Yeah.
little bit of that like perseverance of the oppressed.
Yes. And this isn't even the world where like there's the lower Fae aren't they're I mean they're kind of oppressed by like class, but not like in Crescent City or something.
Yeah.
Or even well, in actually in Summer Court, ironically,
Yeah, in
they are
Summer Court
more
they are. And so like maybe she's already
or they're
right.
just more
She's
like
already lesser
yeah,
Fae and she's from a court that has this huge like
hierarchy.
high
Yeah.
Fae, lower Fae dichotomy hierarchy system where so she probably grew up
Yeah.
for hundreds of years within a system that already had this
Yeah.
oppressive regime type force over her, and then they get something even worse. They get right, or then they have to survive fucking Highburn War, right? So now you've
Yeah.
got your own internal oppressive forces. Now you have external forces that are fighting war, and you know that lesser Fae of Summer Court are siding with humans. I don't know where the rest of Summer Court went, but like,
Mhm.
let's be real. And then on top of that, then you have Amarantha come back in 100 years later and completely fuck everything up. And now you're
Yeah.
fleeing, you're watching your sister and her mate die. Like shit is crazy. So like it makes sense that she knows when to get out because she's like, I've already lived through
Yeah.
all this other
Totally.
shit. Like it's not hard to pay attention to what you're doing here and the
Mhm.
political games that you're playing under this house, under this roof, and to know when things are getting a little too much because it's not hidden, right? Jurian's there, the twins are there, Hybern's doing stupid shit, Tamlin's doing no shit ever,
Mhm.
and Ianthe's running around fucking running the show, and then you have Feyre doing things that are very, very different from book one, book two, Feyre in Spring Court activity.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she's like already on high alert.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like reading Alice like that. That makes sense.
Although, after she tells her to go to Nesta, she says, Nesta would do it too. I knew she would. Even if Alice and her boys terrified her, she would keep them safe. I'm trying to pay attention to all of these moments where we see softer, caring, compassionate sides of Nesta before we get to Silver Flame because the vibe of Nesta and even up until that book was published, I don't know about the rest of the world, but for me, I was like, God, Nesta's such a fucking bitch all the time.
Mhm.
But we're constantly given these little glimpses of Nesta not actually being a bitch, right? We get in earlier chapters where she's like, oh, like even Feyre's like, oh, she's angry and grieving and and being mean is an outlet for that.
Yeah.
So, like, this isn't her real sort of self. This is her being so hurt that she lashes out. She's telling her Nesta would hide them. Nesta would save them, and I know she would. That's why I told you to go there.
Mhm. Yeah. I
She
actually was
says,
wondering why she trusts Nesta so much, and I was like, maybe she really does. Like, maybe Nesta would. Part of me was just like, is this just like a little too optimistic? Because do you think maybe Nesta would?
I think Nesta would.
Okay.
If someone came to the house, asked for Nesta specifically, and said, Your sister sent me here because she said you would keep me safe, Nesta would fucking dig out a fucking, she would close up a ballroom and let them stay there. Like, absolutely.
Okay.
She'd be
Okay.
pissed about it. She'd be a bitch about it. But if anybody, I think that could you imagine a fucking novella of Alice Nesta interactions? Please bring it on. Like
Yeah.
give me that fanfic that
That's
Alice
true.
goes to fucking Nesta and says, "Can we stay here for a little bit?"
I guess Nesta does harbor Bryce's parents, right? She
Yeah.
takes she takes care of them. That's
Mhm.
funny. It is. I also think it's funny how Feyre, like, she finds this weird comfort in like, oh, Nesta's gonna take care of X person.
Mhm.
At first it's Elaine in the first scene, and now it's Alice. And I'm like, it's just I don't know, just an interesting trend that she's like, well, I'm fucked, but at least my sister will take care of these people I feel responsible
Yeah.
for. Um,
I think Feyre realizes that the time that they were poor, that that Nest is being she's angry.
mhm,
And so I think that there's possibly a rose tinted glasses happening where she's like, oh well maybe all of that version of Nesta is just because of this. And I
mhm,
don't like that because rose colored glasses is problematic. But what I do think could be a different theory is that Nesta, given the resources, will always be helpful. But if
mm,
Nesta doesn't have the resources, then Nesta's survival mode is fuck everybody.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
fair enough. If you know shit comes down to me or them, then yeah, most people are like, sorry, I'm not gonna light myself on fire to keep you warm. I can't do that. But Feyre's like, Nesta has resources. Given given resources, Nesta is the homie, right? But the second that shit goes wild, then Nesta has to defend herself or even defend Elaine. Everyone else can go fuck themselves. And I think that I don't know that that needs to be an indictment on Nesta. I think that it has been an indictment on Nesta, but I
yeah,
don't know if it needs to be.
yeah. But I don't know.
Because really, if shit hits the fan, like we all could be Nesta.
Oh yeah.
We
Oh
like to think of ourselves above that, but the reality is we don't know.
yeah. And I just thought it was an interesting sort of like, it's like a parallel in an interesting way. Um, yeah. Oh, also, we get this sort of like, I always note this when people tell people like, I just in my notes I call it like the live command, the 13 do it to Manon, Someone does it to Bryce, and
Hamilton. Mm-hmm.
even Kale to Selena in Throne of Glass is
Mm-hmm.
like, he says, "Get up," but I don't know.
Mm.
There's something about it that always interests me, and it could
It's
just
a
be
you
like
do
a
not
trend.
yield moment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, she's
yeah,
basically she's saying stay alive. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
this next line I love because it is already putting us right in between the two places that Feyre is going to be pulled between for the next 2.5 books. I looked at her one last time, then the night sky that was unfurling above us and the deep green of the hills, the color of Tamlin's eyes, and I said, always between Rhys and Tamlin.
yeah. I know. I like that little subtle nod. I also noticed on the page before, there's this is probably the most negative depiction of darkness in the entire, I think, in the whole series. Um, where does it say that? It says about the cave. It
Mm.
says,
The darkness reeked from the maw to poison the fresh night air.
yeah. I don't know. That just like struck me as like really interesting. Um, but not every night has to be Reese, but I just thought it was like,
Well, but
it's a
it
very
the
strong description.
but night is not being villainized here. The darkness is, right? The
True.
darkness reeked its maw to poison the
And
fresh
to
night
poison the
air.
night. Yeah.
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 So,
I like that too.
and that kind of speaks to it too, right? That there's a darkness within Amarantha, there's a darkness of the Attor, there's a darkness
Hmm.
over Prithian, and it is smothering the night air,
Yeah.
which it is doing.
Yeah, definitely. The next thing I have is I just thought it was interesting, this wait. Yeah. Hissing and braying, eloquent and guttural, a cacophony bursting the silence like a firecracker. I don't know, it just felt like very kind of otherworldly, and like just almost like comically like monster type stuff. And I
Mhm.
was like, what is this? But I think it's just meant to be a, an atmospheric scary noise from a
Mhm.
creepy creature. But I don't know, I was just wondering about that.
Well, and I think it's also supposed to speak of the um how many people are under the mountain and how many different types of people
Yeah.
are under the mountain, and right that it's
Well, it's
both
something that
it's
passes by. She like it says, I
the
pressed myself
dark
against the
no,
cave wall.
the orange light cleaved through the dark and then came the voices. I think she's walking and then she's hearing voices from under the mountain.
Oh. Because it says, but the sounds passed and faded at the bottom of the next paragraph
Hmm.
after the voices.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because she presses herself against the cave wall, but the sounds fade.
Yeah, so it seems like something that's passing her. So it makes it seem like it's maybe like a couple of creatures. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
probably just
maybe.
another thing.
It's
But
interesting.
I thought it was interesting. And then, she's sort of already being like, what if I have to kill somebody? And she's starting to regret it.
Hmm.
The next thing I have after that is the dough line. But did you have something before that?
No, where's the dough line? Is
Oh,
it on the
it's on
next
the
page?
next page.
Okay, I don't really have anything on this page.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just, she's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of she's in there now, and she just feels like very exposed. And she said, "No shadowy spots for concealment, and it's at its other end. My view is yet again obscured by a sharp turn. It was wide open. I was as good as a starving doe ripping bark off a tree in a clearing."
I wanted to underline it, and then I was like questioning if Throne of Glass was too much in my head, and I was like, "Ooh, dough, Aelid, blah." Um,
Oh,
I
it's the doe from this book in the beginning chapter.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but so what I my original thought was like, is Throne of Glass too much in my head? And
Mhm.
then I went to like, no, this is like that's the symmetry of the huntress coming back, and
Yeah.
that again, she's in the wolf's den, right?
Mhm.
Feeling like the doe, and yeah, calling back,
Yeah.
harkening back to the beginning pages.
Page 4. Less than 30 paces away stood a small doe, not yet too scrawny from winter, but desperate enough to wrench bark from a tree in the clearing. But anyway, that's what tipped me off that it's this series, because it said ripping the bark off.
Yeah,
And I was like, a nice little return, very subtle.
yeah.
Um, we end the chapter with the attor, like,
And she can see it and has bat
yeah,
fucking
I think its
ears, and
face, yeah, it just her face, its face
well, and
comes
she
straight into
recognizes
view.
the voice.
Yeah, the
Which is,
voice.
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I guess if there's a traumatizing moment, you would recognize voices. That's why like voice recognition lineups, voice
Mhm.
lineups are a thing, right?
Yeah.
And the attor was a relatively traumatizing experience that she would be
Yeah.
able to remember that, and because of that, like cacophony of voices, old and young, male and female,
Oh,
here, there,
yeah.
whatever, all this stuff that's kind of resonant in the voice. So like it's a unique sound, but I still find it interesting that she recognizes it immediately.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Huh. I didn't think about
Um,
that at all, but yeah.
I made notes of what the attor looks like because I think that it is Ilkin. So those are lots of my notes.
Yeah.
Early on, she also calls it a demon of malice, which is an interesting choice of words
That's
when
like
we
very
actually
like
have.
Dante, right? No?
Yeah, but it's also right very Crescent City that there's the demon that kills the wolf pack, and
Did they
so
call
right.
it malice or something like that?
No, but it's a
Just demon.
demon, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if they call it a demon of malice, but it's definitely a demon and is malicious. So, but yeah, so we have leathery wings, clawed feet, and then we get some more description later on, right? Forked
Mhm.
tongue, razor sharp teeth, smell foul, and a foul smell in the air,
Mhm.
skeletal body. So just making notes of those things because it's very Ilkin to me, and that's not because I just
Yeah.
read Throne of Glass. That's been on my mind for a while, but.
No, yeah, it's a yeah. Oh, I also noticed before kind of some of those descriptions. I just thought it was interesting, like the chanting of the names. And the first she has Tamlin, Alice and her boys, my sisters, Lucian. I don't know. It was just an interesting order, and Dad is nowhere.
No, yeah.
She names basically every person she knows
Mhm.
except for her dad.
Mhm.
Um, hmm,
And
but
she
yeah,
doesn't talk about the human realms either. She doesn't say spring court. She doesn't say human realms. She
yeah,
doesn't say Prithian, right? She's yeah.
yeah. But it's like this, chant, I guess, to keep her head on straight, and then yes, and then the pillars, right? We still strode
Mhm.
through two ancient, enormous stone doors, taller than Tamlin's manor, and into a vast chamber carved from pale rock, upheld by countless carved pillars. And noted that the carvings weren't just ornate designs, but actually depicted fairies and high fae and animals in various environments and states of movement. Countless stories of Prithian were etched on them. Chandeliers of jewels hung between the pillars, staining the red marble floor with color. Here were the high fae. Which, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have
I
anything
mean,
except for like
yeah,
it's
I
just
mean we
an
have right
interesting.
we know that Hewn City also has carvings, right? They see the carvings when they enter into the Court of Nightmares.
Mhm.
There's carvings under the mountain in the prison. There's carvings along the walls when Bryce makes her way into Prithian and they're doing the fucking underground bullshit there, which I still need to figure out where that leads them to, if they ended up under this mountain during that time or not. Um,
I
because
think
that would be
maybe.
interesting if the Bryce stuff took them under the mountain. And so then the stories that are etched along the walls under the mountain are the stories that they left. And so that's what
I think
Feyre's seeing
so.
here, but I don't remember the location of those things. There's too many fucking mountains, Sarah.
Yeah.
Also in Throne of Glass, I know that we have underground ways later in the book,
Hmm.
but when she is um in the room with the sarcophagi, there are there's drawings in that room. I don't It's not
Mm,
necessarily in the like passageway to that room, but in that room it's an
yeah.
inverted depiction of the universe. The floor is stars, and there's trees that are depicted running up the walls, and then earth is above them, and she wonders why it's depicted that direction. And I always
That
find,
is a good case for Terrasen is Prithian, or,
yeah. And
that.
that moment also reminded me of all of these other map scenes that we get. So we get the map in Spring Court where the cauldron is spilling out, spilling the universe, right?
Hmm.
And so from an Asteri point of view, who live in the stars and are are literally called themselves stars, right? A steer, right? For a number of, but anyways,
Mhm,
but the stars are on the ground. The night sky is on the ground, and
mhm.
the earth is above them. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just it was very. I'm also looking for anything underground that has gold because there are the opening in the sarcophagus room. There's an opening that lets in moonlight, but then
Mm.
later she goes in during the day and it lets in sunlight. And there's like a tunnel basically that runs the length of outside all the way to the sarcophagus room because that's how you get light in. And it is gilded and the sunlight bounces off of it and illuminates the room. And so I just keep looking for these places where, like, where is there like
Yeah,
gold
similarities and yeah.
light
Oh,
under
interesting.
something? But yeah, I mean, there's lots of similarities in architecture anyways. I don't know if there's the
Mhm.
same places, but the vibes feel very similar. You're underground, there's carvings on the walls, and right, carvings of fairies and high fae and animals in various environments and states of movement. So like it really could be depictions of any world
Yeah.
at any time in any moment. Um
Mhm.
so yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways.
Oh, I also noted she did say this is before this, I just forgot, but she also said it looked unnervingly similar to how I painted it.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Girl, you're recognizing something," because that
Yeah.
is weird.
Mhm.
And
Well, she's saying the
yeah,
attor looks unnervingly similar to how she painted it.
yeah, on
Yeah.
295. Yeah.
That she was able to see the attor without seeing the attor.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she's got other
Mhm.
things to think about, so I'm sure she's, whatever, but man, I'm just very interested.
Do we have any other Black Rock thrones?
Is there one here?
Yeah,
Like
later on
crazy?
the page. I looked to the Black Rock's throne beside her, and my arms buckled beneath me because that's where she sees Tamlin. He's in
Oh,
a
on a
black
black throne was
rock.
Amarantha,
He's
and
on an
then
obsidian throne.
yeah. How do I fucking miss that? Damn it.
It could also be hematite if we're just thinking about black rocks, but that's just which also, both of which, by the way, have long histories of magical uses in the real world. So
Obsidian?
obsidian and hematite, which is a black stone's bloodstone.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. That hematite is bloodstone, and if it's black rock, it's a blood throne. Sorry, that's just
Mm.
I'm stretching. I'm stretching,
Oh,
but
I don't think so. Black Rock Throne. Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder, I think the Night Court throne is a black throne now that I
I
think
think so
about
too.
it.
And it's carved
Huh.
with all sorts of depictions, right? It's got like some Daglin vibes, doesn't it? Aren't there hounds? It's carved. There's a carving
The pillars
above.
are carved with hounds for sure, but
There's something above the throne in the night court
yeah.
carved into it, and I think there's hounds in there.
Yeah, because Bryce, I think, damn it, I don't know.
Which, by the way, you know who has hounds? Dorian.
You mean like wait, Dorian's dad?
No, Dorian has hounds.
Oh, like he hangs out with dogs.
Yeah, he
Sorry.
be hanging out with all the dogs. Yes, he hangs out with dogs.
I was thinking about like because like there's the what are they called? The Valg word
the,
hounds that
the
are
yeah
like the
yeah
hounds of hell
yeah
type shit.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, he doesn't have
The Daglon
magic
hounds,
dogs,
right? No, 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 he
something
doesn't
like
have
that.
magic dogs, but no, but and whatever, he's a prince and he goes hunting, which not really, but
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, he's got a whole kennel. He hangs out with hounds.
yeah, right.
Also,
That's where we get
Eris
food.
has hounds. Eris always has hounds with him.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
And there's a there's there's something that he wear? What is he? Eris wears. What's his? Is his crest the hounds or is it? I think there's a wolf.
Eris? I don't know
There
why I
was
can't
something
think
I
of
saw that had it's. There was like a TikTok that was like sus ass shit that lives rent free in my head about Eris, and there was something about a sigil or a crest or something, and I felt like it was alluding to connections to wolves, but I don't know
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why I have no memory of this. What's some of this?
Oh, also, Eris has an insane sense of smell. Higher than Faye. That's what it was. Eris has like
He
an
does?
incredible sense of smell. Yes, there's
Eris, Lucian's brother? How do I not know this so much about him? Okay, so he can smell?
yes.
Weird.
Eris in the in ACOTAR series has a heightened sense of smell. He could detect Moore's presence even after she's already left the area. Right? He says something to Cassian about like it,
Weird.
right?
Okay. Hmm.
And he ends up places like he knows things that he shouldn't necessarily know, right? He makes comments and Cassian's always like, I'm gonna pocket that, but how does he know that? Like what how does he get this information? And
Is he a spy master for his court? Or no? No. Maybe that's why him and Azrael are so like.
okay, what if he has what what the fuck is her name? Bryce's best friend who dies.
Danica?
Yeah, Danica. Remember how her dad is like a fucking
Oh, what if he's a hound?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there's a lot of Autumn Court, Crescent City shit.
Well, and
But do
her
they smell
dad,
better, or
her
is that just a dog stereotype?
no, but he hangs out with hounds, right? That's a fucking
Mm-hmm.
hop and a skip to a skip to a wolf. He has a heightened sense of smell, and he just kind of is able to just get into places and check shit out and know things and like
Hmm.
what if he's what yeah.
That is very interesting. Damn. I
Yeah.
don't.
But I'm just saying, Eris has hound vibes.
Yeah.
Can't you imagine if he fucking shifts? Anyways, so many fucking side quests. I'm so sorry. We're an
Yeah.
hour and a
That's
half
okay.
into this, and I'm over here like, what about Eris? He's not even on the pages right now. I'm being such a cunt. Um, yeah, I
Um.
don't have anything. I have notes of what the attor looks like, but I don't have really much for these 2 pages.
Okay. Let's talk about Amarantha. Um. There, lounging on a black throne, was Amarantha. Though lovely, she wasn't as devastatingly beautiful as I had imagined, wasn't some goddess of darkness and spite. It made her all the more petrifying. Her red gold hair was neatly braided and woven through her golden crown, the deep color enriching her snow white skin, which in turn set off her ruby lips. But while her ebony eyes shone, there was something that sucked at her beauty, some kind of permanent sneer to her features that made her allure seem contrived and cold. To paint her would have driven me to madness. And I'm just like, okay, the FMC in this book is named literally Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's an interesting sort of like we get a lot of commentary on beauty. Beauty is also often assigned to Fae. Also, danger is often seen as beauty, right? Like there
Mm-hmm.
she talks about like the Fae being like still and beautiful, and that's like part of what makes them scary. Which, by the way, is why I was not set off about Rhys in when we first meet him. She says the most beautiful man I ever met, but I go, oh, that means he's dangerous. That means he's a scary Fae.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't really like consider him to be like her mate, because anyway, um, which also that could help to fit the evil Reese theory. But I don't know. Anyway, in a book like there's so much talk about beauty and danger and all this stuff. I think it's interesting that she's not as beautiful. And now because Faye is associated with beauty, I do wonder if maybe it's because she's like half human. And maybe that's also why she hates humans, because that would very much fit with like, people who are super ultra racist are often like the thing that they are part of that, like,
Self-hatred of
yeah.
things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just like, maybe that's something like that, but I don't know. There's not really evidence for that. But I did think that noticing that because she wasn't as beautiful made her more scary. I was like, I don't know. That was something interesting about that. Do you have any? Sorry, I know
I
I just
think
said a lot
no,
of
no, no.
stuff.
I think that there's a part of it that like, right, she's built this character up in her head,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And that if what she's expecting is this goddess of darkness, right? Where like the whole essence of her, the whole point of her being is to be this evil, malicious queen. And the fact that she's not, I think what's more scary about that is that like she could be any of us.
Yeah,
That this
okay.
this kind of villainy can live in any of us.
It's a regular person.
It's kind of like turning that on its head. It's kind of like realizing that these great villains in our own history are just humans, right?
Yeah.
That Hitler
Yeah.
is just a dude, right? And then he got a whole
Just
group of
fucking
people
himself.
to follow him, and like, yeah, like that I could be that. Any of us could be that. That
Mhm.
if enough wrong and enough bad nurturing, enough sort of bad grooming or whatever,
Mhm.
we're all just one step away from being that, because she's not this ethereal
She's not
evil
special, yeah.
thing that was created for the sole purpose of evil. She's just a fae, and
Yeah.
this is what she's chosen to do with that power. And so I think
Yeah.
that's part of it, but also I think it gives witchy vibes to me,
Mm. Are the
because
witches described as in Throne of Glass? Are they
I mean,
beautiful?
they're beautiful, some of them, but, like,
They're not
Baba
not it's not like
Yaga is not, right? And,
yeah.
like, not
Hmm.
all of them. I don't think that's a sort of it's indicative of them as a race, the way that Faye is always kind of talked about being
Yeah,
beautiful,
Faye
right?
is always like
And
beautiful
even
because they're
Manon,
fair.
like, she's gorgeous, but she's contrived and cold,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I like that too.
And this, like, this ebony colored skin, snow white skin and bright red lips. Like, sure, okay, she could just be pasty and wearing lipstick, but like, that's also Manon, right? Manon has super fair skin and always has
Are
a dark lip, and
do the witches all look like that, or is that just Manon?
I think it's just Manon, because like the
Okay.
other, not all of them look like that, but also ebony eyes. Part of why Manon is given the type of power in the way that she's raised by her grandmother is because her eyes have gold in them, because they're not all black. But
Yeah.
the witch's eyes are black.
Mm. Yeah, the eyes definitely yeah.
I mean,
It's
they're black. They're ebony, right? They're pitch black.
yeah.
Which is also interesting because, like, again, Faye, you can do whatever the fuck you want with, but like someone who has light red gold hair, so we're thinking strawberry blonde, super pasty skin, black eyes.
Yeah. That's probably what makes it so
That
unnerving.
does, yeah.
Huh.
Mhm.
And then also it's the eyes that she says something sucked at her beauty. Is the eyes specifically that is like, what is that? That
Well,
could
and
be
then
the
you gotta
Valg
wonder,
or
like, yeah,
whatever.
like, could you imagine if there's a Valg prince living in her who's doing all of this and it's not her?
That
That'd be fucking
Dorian ring is actually a Valg ring. It's just she just put a
wild.
dude. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, but also some kind of permanent sneer to her features that made her allure something contrived and cold. Do you know who else has a permanent sneer on her features who makes her look cold? And we constantly talk about that bitch being a witch? Nesta.
yeah,
And Manon.
yeah, it was funny. I mean, I definitely think Amarantha's a witch. Like by this world's standards, she is a witch. She steals power.
Yeah.
She's a
Mhm,
witch.
mhm,
But yeah, that is very interesting. But yeah, anyway, it's just with all the themes of beauty and like it's based off of Beauty and the Beast and like
mhm.
just there's just so much with beauty that I was like just having a field day being like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, being a little ugly makes her more scary.
Yeah.
It's like just funny. And then, first impression of Tamlin is that that bitch is blank. That bitch has no reaction.
I, not because I'm a Tamlin apologist, but I would love a bonus chapter of Tamlin's retelling. I want Tamlin's
Yes.
54. I want Tamlin's
Uh-huh.
54 because,
I wanna know what he's thinking right now.
well, and like, think about it, because that's also like, if we're gonna go into crackpot theories, what if he is being controlled? What if Rhys is pulling strings somewhere and keeping him still? What if he's
Mm.
something, right? Because like, it just seems so, I mean, I know we're supposed to think that this is him saving her and him denying her and like he's trying to do it to save it, but like
He's
Peter's the
very
denier.
disturbed by
He's
it.
Petering her, right? Like the
Yeah.
denier. Like that's that's a fucking sin,
Petering.
bro.
Yeah.
That's he's Petering her. Um,
Yeah.
right. And like he denies her a number of times. Well, now I
Denies
want to
her
count
3
because if he just
times.
yeah, I'm saying, right? And like no, it's not as sort of criminal and like again, it's like under the guise of trying to save her and blah blah, but I still think that there's something if I mean, and I don't know. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I couldn't imagine anyways because that's not the world we live in. But like, I couldn't. Maybe it is. I couldn't imagine being put in a position where my husband, the love of my fucking life, comes to save me, and I sit and deny him, and then don't try every fucking second of my existence from there on out trying to get to him and help him. I can't.
Yeah, and I will say, like, it's not Amarantha's looking at her. Like, maybe people are looking at him, but, like, can't he just be, like, a little tiny eye widening? I mean, they kinda say that he maybe
You
does
think
that
that
at one
maybe
point.
do you think maybe he's trying to like force a mate bond and he's like trying to communicate like mind communicate to her and it's not working? Could you imagine if that's
He's
part of
just
his 50
concentrating super hard because he's, like, trying to send
yeah,
things down the
yeah, that
bond.
like yes, that he's like it's like it's gonna this is it. It's gonna snap. It's gonna snap. She's my mate. She's my mate. It's gonna happen and he's like screaming in his head at her. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Rhys is being like, fuck this bitch is loud. Is like throwing headphones across the room because it's all screaming in his ear. And he's just like, oh my God, Tamlin, she can't hear you. She's not yours.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like I want Tamlin's I want his chapter 54, not for apology, but I would love to know, even if it's an apology, whatever, I'm here for it. Um, but I would love to know what his if he really thought that that was going to be helpful. Granted, he hasn't done a fucking thing in 50 years, so maybe this is
Just
his
what
best
his yeah.
attempt at like if I just say I don't know her, they'll send but like he
They're
has
not
to
gonna
know
send
they're
her
not going
back.
to exactly. He has to know. And even without him doing anything, she enters this bargain. I'm like, what do you think? I mean, maybe he thinks that they would actually kill her on the spot if he reacted, but I
No,
just
I think maybe he
the
just doesn't
whole
want to
rest of the book
show, because maybe it'll be worse for her because then Amarantha will enjoy torturing her more. So he's just got to be like, I don't really care, and then she won't enjoy it.
what if?
That's kind of lame. Yeah.
What if? What if he's mad at her for not breaking the curse? What if he's mad at her for not saying it? And he's like, this is what she gets. I'm not going to acknowledge that I care about her
Damn.
because she didn't save me. She may be here now, but it's too little too late. I don't know you. You're not the girl I knew.
That's
That's some
crazy.
prideful Tam shit. He could be that
Yeah.
guy.
It's kind of in line with him. I think it's a little too far for even Tamlin, but eh, men like Tamlin tend to. I think he's a little too pure for that. I feel like not, but
I just, I know it's supposed to read as he's doing what he thinks is best to save her, but I feel like there has to be I want to know what he's doing under the mountain, and that's the problem is that we don't know.
yes, we don't.
Because
Yeah, I would love to know what he was thinking.
if we got I'm gonna get a little cup that says "Give me Tamlin 54," but no, like if we got a POV of Tamlin of his time under the mountain, what is he doing when they're not in court? Right? What is he doing?
Hmm.
Where is he sleeping? Who's what does his lodging look like, right? Is he in a dungeon of his own? Does he have a place of his own? Is he in a fucking cage sitting at the foot of Amarantha's bed in his fucking beast form? Like, right? Is she
Maybe.
fucking crate training his ass? Like, what is happening here
Yeah.
that we don't know about because we don't get it because it's from Feyre's POV only?
Hmm.
Are there the right does he is he the one who sends Lucian to help her
I think
or
so.
like
I think it says Lucian
but
says
it's
that.
just like what is he it from from the information we have on the page
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like a kindness for him to ignore and deny her.
No, it
Feels
doesn't.
heartbreaking.
Now, I was wondering, like, maybe if he really thinks Reese is evil and stuff, which he does, and there's no reason that we would think that he's on to Reese. But I was thinking maybe he's like ultra concentrating because he thinks that Reese is gonna try to sneak into his brain right now, and he's like just like doing his best to like shield or
Mhm.
something. And then I was like, maybe when you mentioned the black stone, I was like, maybe the black stone is like pinning down his magic even more, and so he's like being drained, and so he can barely just keep his shield up because he's like doesn't want Reese to see the truth and blah blah blah. Although I guess Reese already knows. But anyway, I don't know. I was just like thinking about maybe he's like shielding, maybe he's worried about Reese, maybe it's the stone. But yeah, we need a Tamlin chapter 54.
I think that Tamlin wearing a mask is a whole metaphor that we can get into for his personality and Tamlin masking with all the
Yeah.
pun intended or whatever, and that this is part of that. And I'm so interested to look at the times and places where he becomes unfeeling, unmoved, unimpressed, right? Which is the words we're using
Yeah.
here in this chapter. When he becomes unattached or unfeeling or just sort of deadpan stoic, and what is happening around him in those moments, and if that's how he
Hmm.
knows how to behave in times of trauma, like maybe that's just his shit, right? Like
Yeah. Because it's
and
weird in Miss and Fury when he never comforts her when she's throwing up. You know, like he
and
is
granted,
kind of
if
doing
I'm
the
going to
same
try to
thing
be
there.
kind to Tamlin for a second, right? Like
Yeah,
Tamlin's raised with a fucking tyrannical father,
yeah. So it
and
probably
as
is his
someone,
instinct.
right, and like someone who had a volatile father, right? Like knowing that sometimes the freeze reaction is the only reaction you can truly have because fight or flight is not an option.
Yeah,
And maybe that's what it is, right? He can't fight and he can't flight. And so freezing is his only reaction. And it could just be that.
yeah,
And knowing that, like, when you are in the room of tyranny, you just keep your fucking mouth shut because that's how you survive, because that's how he survived his father. And then he goes
mm,
into the war camps, right? And like maybe that's part of it too, is that you keep your head down and you do as you're told, and you'll live to see another day, right? Even if you
yeah.
disagree or whatever, and that like maybe that's part of it. And um but it's interesting for a high lord.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels heartbreaking, and maybe it just feels heartbreaking because we're getting it from her view. Maybe if we got it from a third person view, or if
Hmm.
if we were able to get into Tamlin's head about this, like this would make more sense, and that maybe there really is this altruistic, if I don't react, maybe they'll just send
Hmm.
her on her way, which is far fucking fetched.
But I feel
um
like if I'm in Tamlin's head, I'd be like, I gotta let her know. But maybe maybe his only emotion is fear, and so he
mhm,
doesn't want to let her see his fear. Maybe because
mhm.
he thinks that, okay, I want to communicate with her, but all I am right now is like scared, and so if I
Yeah,
just show that to her, she'll be more scared. Like, so
yeah.
there's a case for that, I guess. Yeah,
And again, there's a case to look at the like fight, flight, freeze response, and
yeah,
that may be
definitely.
how, because again, we're all like, we always criticize the way people react in traumatic experiences, or the way that people react to deaths of loved ones or whatever, especially when under suspicious um circumstances where you're like,
Hmm.
why are they fucking giggling or whatever, right? Like we do it all. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
how true crimey you are, but right, that's a narrative within true crime and things
Yes.
like that. And here we are, like, basically picking apart a crime scene to try to figure out
Yeah,
what's going on in this guy's head. And it could just be the psychology of fear, the psychology
yeah,
of trauma, that we're wanting this powerful person to fight, when in reality he's like, I'm so fucking scared right now, I can't even move.
yeah. He is a person somewhere in there. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
kidding. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, and we get lots of that. It does. I will say it's the thing that she notes over and over and over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
most consistently in this chapter. It seems like her most heartbreaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I also noticed that she can't look Amarantha in the eye. I thought that was it's just very kind of. I
Yeah,
don't know. What did you make of anything of that, or is it just because like
I didn't, but it's an interesting point of note.
She says it like several times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because she says, I stared at Tamlin's boots to avoid her gaze. I stared at
Mm-hmm.
her gown, rather than meet her
Mm-hmm.
eyes. I didn't actually notice when she looks her in the eyes, though. Both of
Well,
those are on 297 if you're looking
yeah,
for
I mean,
them.
she notices that her eyes sparked on the next page, so maybe she's looking at him then.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just like, yeah, she's just scared, and so but I don't know, it just kind of didn't seem like very
We get
favorable.
watery bowels in this chapter, don't we?
Yes, the
Yeah.
watery bowels is
Poor Feyre and her
later.
IBS.
um,
I mean, here's the thing. If I mean, she figures out who she is, and then she makes this bargain with her, right? Which clearly Tamlin's not going to be a big fan of either, and apparently is trying to like wide eye fucking scream at her
that's
not
his
to do
only
it.
moment
So,
where he sort of
but
communicates. Yeah.
I mean, the theory would be that if he didn't deny her and said, "Yeah, that's the girl I fell in love with," that this whole conversation would be exactly the same. She'd be like, "Ooh, how delicious that this happened," and blah blah blah, and you're claiming her, and I'm a fucking enter into this fucking bargain because fuck you, Tamlin, right? Like, I just don't know how
Mm,
the conversation. I don't know how her reaction would be any different if he acknowledged Feyre or not.
no, I think he does. I could see it being different because it's one thing to say, "Oh, you really fell in love with her," and it's another thing to know, "Oh, he's admitting he did fall in love with her." And I think it's just like, it's a vulnerability, but it's also like, well, yeah, in this case, it's an actual vulnerability. Like, if she knows,
Yeah.
then
But then
she's
is
just
he?
going to use that against him.
Yes, but then he would be protecting himself and not protecting Feyre again.
Well, I think he probably thinks that she's going to hurt Feyre worse if she knows that he actually cared. Right now, she's just guessing that he does
Yeah,
care
because
about her.
he's like, I don't. I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna confirm what you think.
Yeah, even though
Because maybe
she's
and maybe
guessing
the
it.
confirmation, especially with how much she's in lust mate bond with him, like maybe he would be like, "Oh, that's gonna fucking send her over." She can play right now because she
Yeah,
suspects that I love her and she
she
wants to torment me
suspects.
with it. But if I were to confirm it, she would just outright kill her.
Yeah, or just yeah. Yeah, so I think he just thinks that, and I think that's fair, I've got siblings, you can't let them enjoy it. You gotta,
Fair,
you
fair, fair,
know,
fair. Yeah.
you're not can't encourage that kind of shit. I'm just kidding. And then yeah, the next thing I have actually is that, the Claire scene, and that's like
Hmm.
definitely probably one of the more impactful moments. It's also like that Claire this moment is what shapes all of the rest of this book, most of Mist and Fury, even like parts of War. She's, Claire is, I mean, for good reason, but uh it's like gonna haunt her from here on out.
I find this moment where this indictment on Tamlin from Amarantha to be interesting.
Where what page?
298. She says, "But," Amarantha said slowly, "I can sense the attor and the entire court looming behind me. It makes me wonder if only one human girl could be taken once she killed your sentinel. Oh, you are delicious. You let me torture that innocent girl to keep this one safe. You lovely thing. You actually made a human worm love you. Marvelous." Why wouldn't Tamlin deny Claire to try to save her? He sat there through that too and just let her do it?
Yes. And
And that seems wrong too, on kind of a different level.
yeah.
You could have easily been like, have Rhys go in my mind. I've never seen this girl. Why are you doing this? I don't know what you're talking about. Now, granted, she'd been like, okay, well, but then Rhys said that he saw a girl in your place, so then where's the girl? And I'm gonna keep looking for her. So, like,
I
maybe
think
he's like,
that's
cool.
probably why. Yeah.
God, I want a Tamlin chapter 54
Dude.
so badly.
Dude, or just like this scene
Mhm.
from like just not even him explaining it, just literally his perspective from in
Yeah,
this scene.
yeah. Just the
And
bonus chapter of his POV.
I will say she did somewhere she says she kind of admires Tamlin for having, she says like, "Oh, it's my fault. I gave her a name." And then it's somewhere she says that Tamlin, like, he let them, but it's like in a she's she's grateful, or she thinks it's like brave of him to let.
She lets him off the hook too easily, is
Yeah.
my
I don't know
opinion.
where
Like,
that part is now.
I feel like there is a shared. I don't know what Tamlin could have done. And again, maybe if he said that's not her, keep looking, bitch, that like, yeah, it would have sent her whatever. But like never once does she ever be like, it's kind of your fault too, Tam. Like you didn't say anything when she was torturing her?
Mhm.
Nothing?
Yeah. Oh, I found it. Bottom third of 299. It says the I wanted to spit paragraph. It
Yeah.
says I wanted to spit that she deserved to burn in hell for eternity, but I could only see Claire's body nailed there. Even as I stared blankly at Tamlin, he'd let them kill Claire like that to keep them from knowing I was alive. My eyes stung as bile burned in my throat, and I was like, "See, she's like saying, oh, he let them." And at first, I read that and like, "Oh, she's blaming him," and then I was like, "No, no,
No,
she's grateful."
she's grateful.
Which
Yeah.
this I feel like she wouldn't she's gonna look back on that and be
It's
like,
the
"I was
same as it
stupid."
was a few chapters ago when she was
Yeah.
like, he put me before his court, before all of Prithian. How kind. You're like, no, selfish. That's selfish. He
Yeah.
put you above everybody.
It's like people are like, "Oh, I love a shadow
What?
daddy who will do anything for who will throw everything away for the MFC." I'm like, "That's fucked up. You want
Yeah.
like a dictator who loves a
Yeah.
girl, I guess?"
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to say that now.
I mean, I
It's
like
just
that a little bit in MMC,
well, it's one thing for it to be like,
but but it
inconsequential, but like it's like sometimes it's like Zayden.
yeah.
If we like in fourth wing, there's like a lot of people. Well, do people? Maybe I'm misremembering, but it just seems like I would not generally like a man who causes other people harm for my sake or allows harm to fall. I don't know,
Yeah.
but people tend to like romanticize that a little
Oh yeah, for sure.
weirdly. Um. Anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, so that line is
I
on 299.
I did note like I want to pay attention to what Jurian watches, right? And when he
Yes.
clearly giving fucking he's screaming in that fucking ring at her.
It says that.
I mean, at some point when she goes to make the bargain in a few pages, like his eye swirls around like crazy, like don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, that's probably how
And
he want.
Amarantha's like, quit being a little bitch, my dude.
Yeah. The first mention of him is like 298
Hmm.
when she notices the eyeball, um,
And the
and
bone. And the bone
it,
around her neck.
the bone in the finger, yeah. Which I was like, is that Dorian? And then later she does confirm that it is Dorian. Which I don't
Yeah,
know how she knows that, but whatever.
I don't either.
Um, I don't.
Be
It's
interesting if it wasn't Jurian, but anyways. But I
I
think
think
it's
we do get
confirmed later on.
confirmation that it is. Yeah.
We get confirmation later on because they keep talking about like can Hybern bring him back with just a finger bone and an
Finger bone.
eye? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um
And then
Perhaps I should have listened when she said she'd never seen Tamlin before, Amarantha muses, or when she insisted she'd never killed a fairy, never hunted a day of her life. Though her screaming was delightful, I haven't heard such lovely music in ages. Her next words were directed at me. I should thank you for giving Rhysand her name instead of yours. I don't know what I was thinking here, but I did make a note of it. Like I kind of like put
yeah.
brackets around it as like,
Because it's like the name and like this is like what all the actual like fairy tales are about is like don't give a fairy your name like it like it screams of that and then it's the moment of realization too.
mhm.
um I think this is
I
the traumatizing moment.
want to know if Rhysand is already in her head right now,
I mean,
or if there's
she
some
doesn't
mate
feel
con.
it, but can she
No,
always feel him in her
but
head?
but little later down, the attor's talons dug into my shoulder as it shoved me around to face Amarantha, who was still giving me that snake's smile. I had his I had as
Mm,
good as killed Claire. I'd saved my own life and damned hers. That rotting body on the wall should be mine. Mine. And then in italics, separate. New dialogue. New person.
new line.
Mine.
Yes.
That's a new line. That's a dialogue jump.
Yes.
Mine.
And I will say, so from here, especially in the trials, I have a lot of places where I noted on my second read through that voice does not sound like Feyre's a lot of the time. It
Yeah.
sounds like, at first I was like, is this her connection to like the mother? Is this like some kind of her
Well,
mother's voice? Is this some kind of internal voice? Is this the magic? But then I was like, maybe it's Rhys.
Well, and even right above that, we get the same thing with Claire Bedor, right? I should thank you for giving
Mhm.
Rhysand her name instead of yours. New dialogue, italics in her brain, Claire Bedor. So
Yeah.
is Rhys already? She
And
just said Rhys's name, so Rhys is in Feyre's mind when she says, "I should thank Rhysand for giving it," and then Rhys is thinking, "Claire Bedor, that's the name you gave me."
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
she's going, "I killed her. I killed her. It should be me. It should be my my body that's on the wall. Mine." And Rhysand says, "Mine."
yeah, I like that. That's to be fair, it is written like it's just her dialogue. It's just dramatic. It's just sort of whatever. It's meant to be seen as Feyre, but I love the
But if you look
crackpot
at the
theory
words
that
on
it
the
is Rhys.
page,
It
yeah, I
totally
mean,
makes sense. Why not
and
make it italics in the same line?
if you look grammatically, it's a new,
Yeah,
it's a whole new line, which is usually indicative of dialogue change, and it's italicized, so we know it's an internal thought.
yeah, yeah. I like it that that's Reese. The Claire Better one I didn't think about with Reese, but it could be. Any italics though, I'm like this could be an external voice. That is, I have a lot
Yeah.
more evidence for that as we get because I read through up to ACOTAR with that theory, and so there's a lot of instances. Um,
We talked
okay,
about the ones that I've already highlighted where he let them kill Claire to keep me alive, which we're
mhm.
supposed to
Yeah, I
think
thought
is.
that that was earlier, but it's right there. Yeah, um, and then yeah, then we get the
Then we get the actual denial and her putting a
yeah.
proprietary hand on his arm.
This
Ownership.
is top of
Proprietary.
300.
Yeah, yeah, proprietary meaning ownership, right?
And she immediately sees his denial of her as
Yeah.
like still trying to protect me now, even here.
Yeah, I've never seen her before. Someone must have glamored her as a joke, probably Rhysand. Already blaming him. And then she said, "It's not even a halfway decent lie." Amarantha angled her head. It could be. It could be that you, despite your words so many years ago, returned the human's feelings. A girl with hate in her heart for our kind has managed to fall in love with a fairy, and a fairy whose father once slaughtered the human masses by my side has actually fallen in love with her too. That was an interesting note that she says, "A fairy whose father slaughtered human masses by my side." Not a father whose fairy once slaughtered humans whom I fought with.
It makes it seem like he worked under her, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has like a he followed her as opposed to her working with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also puts her at the center of this recognition, right? It comes back, it has like that sort of narcissistic feel
Yeah.
that like, and kind of speaks to the possibility of matehood, right? That like, could it be that despite your words so many years ago that this girl fell for you and you fell for her, something that should be mine, right?
hmm
The girl who had hatred in her heart has managed to fall in love with a fairy, and a fairy whose father slaughtered the human masses by my side has actually fallen in love with her too. Kind of being like, you should belong to me. You belong to me.
hmm
It makes more sense for you to be on my side.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much like that. Yeah. She talks to Tamlin
Mhm.
or to Dorian.
Also, a pity your human whore on the side never bothered to save you, though. Who
That's
is your
Miryam.
That's Miryam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miryam was human?
I think so.
Was she given eternal life because she mate bonded with somebody?
Yeah, she's one of them. She's one of three made, right? Am I crazy?
Also, Miriam's backstory is basically Moses, right?
Yeah, it's like
She's
straight
from
up.
yeah, yeah. She's from a desert place where her people are enslaved, and she leads a mass exodus out of
Across the water.
across the water. So
Mhm.
she's from the continent then, in a far south desert place where there's
Called the
slavery,
Black Land. Yeah.
like in the south where Kaol goes. Did they fall into slavery down there? And then she saved them?
I don't
The the the
know.
the
She got captured. Oh, Miryam got captured by Amarantha to serve as a trap for Dracon. Rhys went against orders to free Miryam, and in the process, most of his legion got killed, and the rest were captured and tortured by Amarantha. Yeah. Oh, she crosses through unspecified means. They succeeded at this and marched 50,000 humans they had freed through the desert into the Erythian Sea. So further, there's some ships. The ships were gone,
Mhm.
and then Dracon's soldiers parted the sea.
Dracon's soldiers parted the sea.
That's what it said.
Parted
Seraph.
the fucking sea. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, it says
Jesus
they use their
Christ.
magic. This is
See,
the
these are
wiki says.
moments, and I don't mean this to be derogatory because I'm Jewish, but like these are the moments where I'm just like, Sarah, you're Jewish showing.
Yeah.
So Dracon is Fae.
Dracon is a seraphim.
Oh, he's an angel.
Yeah, I think.
He's a hunt.
Together with Dracon, his seraphim soldiers, and Morrigan, marched into the Blackland to free the human slaves there. That's what it says. Mm-hmm.
But Miryam
Uh-huh.
is human and is with Dorian, but loves Dracon and is made.
When does she get made? Oh, Miryam dies here. Oh, okay. Nefel comes to save Miryam. Miryam dies, and Dracon knew of a sacred island where a powerful object made by the cauldron had been hidden. He used that object to resurrect her, granting her Faye's long life in the process.
What the fuck did he use? Did he use the Dread Trove?
That's what I think, but I can't. I'm trying to think of like the Dread Trove is like.
The Dread Trove saves Feyre, brings her back to life when she's fucking having her Twilight baby die moment. She dies
Yeah, but that's technically a bargain with the mother that Nesta makes.
using the Dread Trove, though.
Yeah.
She can only make
But
that
it sounds
bargain
like
if she
he just
has.
did it with one item. Maybe he used the harp to go back in time and save her or something. Yeah, the next thing I have.
I underlined that,
Um,
like, but fate stirs the cauldron in strange ways. I don't have any note for it, but it's an interesting.
yeah, she's like, yeah.
I mean, she's thinking about it in a fucked up way where she's like, perhaps Claire had to die so that I knew that I needed to stretch that out more so that I can actually enjoy this. And like, that's fucked up.
Hmm.
But if nothing else, we know that Amarantha has stock in or believes in fate and the cauldron.
Hmm. Yeah.
I worried when he didn't flinch while I played with darling Claire, when he didn't even show those lovely claws. And I wrote, he still isn't flinching or showing those lovely claws.
He still isn't. It's pissing them both off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and right before that is when we get our my bowels turn watery. I couldn't help it. I think that's the first.
Yeah.
No, it's not the
It's,
first
it's
mention.
it is the first mention.
Oh, is it? I thought that'd
Yeah.
be with the Naga, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, it's an iconic one for sure. And then we get the bargain.
Yeah, I'll make a bargain with you, human, unless your life depends on it, as Alice had said. You, okay, I'm gonna, we're gonna talk far too long about this bargain and all the fucking loopholes. You complete 3 tasks of my choosing. 3 tasks to prove how deep that sorry, to prove how deep that human sense of loyalty and love runs, and Tamlin is yours. That's the original bargain. He's yours.
Mhm.
Just 3 little challenges to prove your dedication, to prove to me, to darling Dorian, that your kind can indeed love true, and you can have your High Lord.
Mhm.
And then Feyre is slightly smarter because she's like, cool, I can have him, but I need him to be free.
Yep.
And then she turns to Tamlin, right? Consider this a favor. These human dogs can make our kind go lust blind, that we lose all common sense. Better for you to see her true nature now. So she's like, when she fails, Tamlin, I'll be doing you a favor because you'll know that she didn't really love you, which is kind of fucking manipulative as fuck to be like,
Very.
do you
Yeah.
really love your husband? I'm going to go ahead and put you on the top of this tower and tell you that you need to jump and live. And if you die, that means you didn't love him. You're like,
Yeah.
that's not, that's a weird correlation, ma'am.
Yeah.
right? It's like that's that like witch, not witch in this terms, but like witch hunty type shit where it's like
Yeah. If she
if
if
you
she lives,
drown, if you
yeah.
drown, it means you weren't a witch. Bitch, I'm dying either way.
Yeah.
Like that kind of weird shit, which is like, okay, well, I'm fucked either way, so cool, thanks. I want the curse broken too, I blurted. She raised a brow, her smile growing, revealing too many of those white teeth. I complete all 3 of your tasks, and his curse is broken, and we and all his court can leave here and remain free forever. Slightly better.
Hmm.
She
Yeah.
says, I added, magic was specific. Alice had said that was how Amarantha had tricked them. I wouldn't let loopholes be my downfall. And I already see a loophole. Not just he
She
can
didn't
live,
specify alive.
she didn't specify. Here's the loophole. Prove to me that your love can indeed be true. It doesn't matter what Feyre does. Amarantha will never believe that Feyre truly loves him, that humans are fully capable of it. That's the loophole. Because even if she completes all 3
Mm.
tasks, all Amarantha has to say is, I still don't believe you.
Oh, yeah, that is technically in that original bargain to prove how deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. I wonder if
Just
that's
3 little
intentional,
challenges to,
actually.
yeah, just for 3 little challenges to prove your dedication, to prove to me, to darling Dorian, that you can love true.
Do you think SJM meant that to be like an accidental loophole like that? I feel like that maybe just she didn't even realize that she wrote it like that.
No, no, I don't, because when she completes the 3 that no, you
Yeah,
didn't break, I don't have to break the bargain right now because 1, you didn't specify time, and you didn't prove to me shit. I still don't believe you.
yeah, because I don't believe. Yeah, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, she didn't specify alive. She didn't
Amarantha
specify
is
that.
smart, and she put that in there as a fail safe.
Hmm. Yeah. Um.
And then Jurian's eye swivels wildly, as if to tell her not to do it. Also, she's not freeing everybody. Nobody's worried about the other High Lords.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I don't think she really knows the full
But
extent,
but
but she
but
does.
she knows the full extent. And so here's the bargain, okay? First you have Tamlin who's trying to remove his curse.
Yeah.
Not save everybody, remove his curse. Why? So that he can fight her? Because let's be honest, he's a bitch. And then you
Yeah.
have this bargain that frees Tamlin and his court
Yeah.
and her. And then what? I mean, I could see Feyre going back and be like, cool, we won. Let's go after this bitch. You got your court back. Let's go. But nowhere in the bargain does she say, you need to leave Prithian.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the smart thing. Okay, I complete the 3 tasks, which will prove that I love him, whether you believe it or not. You will release him instantaneously, along with his entire court, and you will remove the curse on all the High Lords and leave Prithian.
Yeah.
Now, I don't
That
know
is
if
how
she
she should have
just,
said it.
that's how she should have said it. Now, I don't know if Amarantha would have taken that bargain,
Yeah.
but that's how she should have said it. And that would have made her an actual fucking curse breaker. The thing that frees the other High Lords is Tamlin killing her.
Because she solves the riddle technically. That's how you
Yes, but
can kill her.
and so that releases his curse and the
Yeah.
mask curse.
And I think that's just, they just call her curse breaker because she's the catalyst for it. But
Yeah,
yes, to really
and that's
not.
fine, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, why is nobody else worried about the rest of she will still have a huge tyrannical hold on
Yeah.
the rest of Prithian. And if for 50 years he's been allowed to live in his court with his people, what makes you think that he's going to do anything if he has his full powers that he didn't do in the last 50 fucking years with all of his people in his court? But okay, you don't know nobody else. That's fine. You're here for that guy. Fine. I guess
Yeah.
world peace isn't on her agenda.
Yeah. I mean, but to Tamlin's credit, this second that he gets free, he rips out her throat. So he does
Yeah.
finally spring into action when he gets his power, but it's still like, yeah.
But is it
And
to free people or is it because he's angry that she killed her? It's
exactly, yeah.
still self-serving.
Yeah. Gold in his eyes was brighter than I remembered.
Also, for Tamlin?
Yep. 302 in the middle
Okay, no, I'm
was
still on 301. Hold on.
oh,
I'll give
okay.
you a way out, girl. You complete all 3 tasks, or when you can't stand it anymore, you have to answer one question. And I wrote, why the like generosity is she so arrogant that Feyre will fail at both of these tasks? She's literally giving her fucking bones just so many chances, right? She could kill her. She says, no, let's enter a bargain. And also, there's another way out of this bargain if you answer this riddle. And I know you're too dumb to do it. Now, part of that seems a little ridiculous because you're like, this is a lot of
Giving your enemy a
Amarantha.
lot of sticks to throw at you.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like
Yeah.
she's giving her a lot of different ways to end this curse. Now, speaking as a historian and a study of religious studies,
Mhm.
this is super indicative of lots of Greco-Roman myths where the biggest weakness that a character has is hubris.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
And
And so
that fits in
and that
too.
can we could have a whole conversation about Amarantha as being like this epitome of hubris, this epitome of arrogance and feeling undefeatable and feeling like she's untouchable. And that's why she not only does she right, she like tricks all of the High Lords, but then she does this, this another masking. Then she offers Tamlin this curse break option, and then that curse break option kind of works out, but kind of doesn't. Then she gives a bargain, then she gives this other thing. And so, like, but it also is just a little weird. If I really wanted to hold on to power, I would not be giving people 5 or 6 or 7 ways out of my tyranny.
Yeah. And maybe she's just bored. Maybe she's just like,
I mean,
hot
maybe.
damn, but like, or just insane. Like, that's the only
But
way. The
I
hubris,
do
the insanity, or just,
but I
I
do like that there's a little bit of a classical
yeah,
classical sin, and that hubris is really her biggest crime, which is crazy to think, but that like or
yeah,
that her biggest weakness is her arrogance.
yeah.
Because
Which, you know,
that's literally the undoing of like every fucking Greek tragedy is hubris.
yeah. And that's like, her hatred of human is also because she thinks that she's better. It's like
Yeah.
it kind of lines up with her character, I'd say, yeah.
Also,
But
she can only give one answer. Did you catch that? You can answer it at any time, but if you answer incorrectly and she points and I didn't need to turn around to see her gesture at Claire. So
mm,
Farrah has one guess.
yeah, that would be nerve-wracking. So I guess that's kind of, you know,
Could you imagine if she gave her infinite guesses and Feyre's just like following her along under the mountain
it's
and
just like,
she's like, is it deers? Is it wolves? Is it family? Is it coin? Is it this? Like she's like, oh my god, you're incessant,
you're
girl.
like, no, yeah, that would be crazy. Um,
Right? She also should have added like a you can't kill me if I succeed to the clause. If you fail
yes,
a task, there won't be anything left. You're right, because she says, and if I fail your task, well, there won't be anything left of you to play with, anyways. Like, you're basically saying, my tasks are going to kill you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and it very much, it's meant to build tension. It does, and all that
mhm.
stuff. But yeah, the line about the gold in his eyes is in the middle of 302 there, which is just interesting with our vowed conversations today with like the gold in her eyes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because
Why
he's
why
sitting on the
is she
black
so
stone.
offended by this housework thing? Do you notice this?
Um,
Right. In the meantime, you shall either remain in your cell or do what other additional work I require. And if you run me ragged, won't that put me at a disadvantage? Um,
oh, I think she's just trying to be like, well, I don't. She's trying to find more loopholes. Like, oh, she's just gonna make me stay up at all hours of the night until I can't.
Sure. But then
Like,
she
that's what I
goes,
thought it was.
Amarantha says, nothing but basic housework. It's only fair that you earn your keep. And she says, I could have strangled her for that.
Oh yeah.
Why?
I totally missed that line.
Because she's like, how dare you think I need to earn my keep? I don't want to be here in the first fucking place, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably what it is. Yeah.
It's just weird though, where she's just like, "How dare you tell me that I need to do housework while I'm here? What
Like,
the
that's the
fuck?
least of the offensive
That's
things.
Nesta shit. You think I'm here to sweep floors? You should call my sister. I hunt,
So
she
funny.
cleans. The fuck? It's like a very man thing to do. I
Yeah.
need to earn my keep. I need to clean for you? Fuck
Mhm.
off."
It's funny, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And then my only note after this is the last line, and then before that, it's just like this, these kind of like lines about doing it for love, blah blah blah,
mhm.
which but yeah,
So I have a couple of I think I have two other things before that.
yeah.
Okay, so Amarantha asks her, "Is it agreed?" His face got ghastly white. Tamlin's eyes met with mine, and they almost imperceptibly widened. No. But it was either this or death. Death like Claire, slow and brutal. The attor hissed behind me, a warning to reply. I didn't believe in fate or the cauldron, and I had no other choice. And I wrote, because you'll never really have any real choices when it comes to Tamlin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then right, she's thinking, yada yada. Amarantha asks, well, again. She demands it. Behind me, I sense the attor's presence to prepare, or sorry, sense the attor preparing to pounce, to beat the answer out of me if needed. She tricked them all, but I hadn't survived poverty and years in the woods for naught. My best chance lay in revealing nothing about myself or what I knew. I don't. What? What does that mean? Like, reveal, like, she's already revealed who she is and what she knows.
I think she just means like
I'm
I'm
gonna
banking on Amarantha underestimating my abilities,
fair. And
which
what
is
was her?
maybe it explains why she doesn't want to give her name in the next part.
Yeah.
Because I was
Well, and
always
like
like, why is
maybe
she so weird about this? Yeah.
also, I feel like I don't want to be a dick, but like surviving poverty and a year in the woods is really not all that big when compared to whatever the fuck that Amarantha has in store for her. But okie dokie, that's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
But people tend to,
I
it is kind of a natural thought is to be like, I've made it this far. I survived X, Y, and Z things. And so I can do it. So
Yeah, it says, I
I
glanced at
understand
Tamlin
it.
one last time before I said agreed. Amarantha gave me a small, horrible smile, and magic sizzled in the air before us as she snapped her fingers. She nestled back in her throne. Give her the greeting worthy of my hall, she said to someone behind me. Does she have a bargain mark from this?
Nope. Bargain marks are only in the night court. Rhys says that. But,
Hmm.
it does seem different. It says the air sizzled. That's probably the only time we ever see it like that. No metallic tang. Well, the
Do
later
we
one, but
do
yeah.
we do we ever see bargains outside of the night court other than this one?
Oh, maybe her mom's, but
That would explain why
um,
there's no mark.
yeah. I don't know, but no, Reese specifically says in my court, bargains are customarily done through tattoos.
All right,
So that's why I know that. But I'm trying to think. I don't know if I know of any other bargains besides this one that
fine,
are
fine.
not in night court.
That's a weird. It's a weird night court only thing.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, how does this magic work? Why is the
Mhm.
magic's like up here? This is my aesthetic. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
it's very interesting, but
All right. Then our last line.
blood sprayed from my mouth, and its metallic tang coated my tongue before I knew no more.
I wrote, I know blood is metallic, but magic is also described as metallic tang. Is there magic already in her blood?
Yes. And we've
Mhm.
gotten many hits of, her blood and magic and like, the only other thing that's ever been described as metallic tang is magic. And when we first talked about those mentions, we were like, that's like kind of like blood. Maybe her blood is recognizing it, and so that's why it tastes metallic to her. Maybe to everyone else, it has no taste or whatever. Like, she just and so I think this is another great moment for the Feyre is something already.
Yeah.
But it's just such a if our theory like it's a kind of a crazy theory But like if it is, this line
I mean, it's
is
not a
just it's
crazy
right there.
theory.
It's the
It is a
last line of a very important chapter. It's
it's
like
also
there.
a very popular theory. People are always wondering if Nesta has witch blood, if the
Oh
girls have witch
yes.
blood. Like, it's
But I
not
feel like people don't
outlandish.
talk about it the same way that
Also,
we do
I
as
do
often.
think that it would be slightly undermining of Feyre, because I think part of what is endearing to her narrative heroic arc is that she starts out as human and succeeds as to some extent as human.
Mm.
Um
Or does she succeed because fate has been pulling the strings all along?
and it's fine, but
Yeah.
she could still be human and fate be pulling the strings all along, and it's this
Mm.
perseverance of like the human
Yeah.
soul and heart and whatever. Um and then would that, and I mean it kind of comes back to, we've asked this question before, that if she did say I love you, if she was something that wasn't human, would it have broken the curse? Because would it have recognized the
She's
magic in her
not human.
blood and realized that a human with hate in her heart did not kill that wolf, but rather a
Hmm.
fae or a witch or something, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hmm. It's very interesting, but I
But
just
it's
feel
it's
like
good evidence for her being something more, for her blood being
just the
magical to some
association
extent.
of blood and magic and
Yeah.
yeah, because you know, I don't think we've seen any other characters describe metallic tang.
And we
To
do
be fair,
talk
the only other perspective is Nesta. Or we
And we
have
do
Cassian, but
mention
who knows?
when they are underneath, when they're in the prison, and the bone carver's talking about some ancient fey line that lives in some humans that is like they
Yes.
would never know. And we've always thought like, well, maybe that's Feyre, right? Maybe that's the Archerons.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe it's just this like long descended bloodline, something, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Metallic tangs, man.
Dude.
Metallic tangs.
Damn. What an episode. I feel like,
Yeah.
that could have been two episodes, but it just feels like they go together, man.
Yeah, I mean, the first one we did in like 30 minutes. So like it could have been its
Oh,
own episode just
we were
because of
like
how
in an
long
hour for the first one because we
were
gave
we?
20 minutes in that for the theory, though.
That's
So
true.
that's why.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's all right. A long episode is fine.
Yeah. I like it.
Um yeah, so next week we'll be looking at chapter 35, which I haven't even looked ahead for, but
I think it's just Lucian fixing her up.
Lucian fixes her up, and we're still hanging out with Lucian. And then we get the riddle. Yep. We get the riddle in the next
Do we?
uh in chapter 35. And yeah, and then she's just hanging out.
Yeah. 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 And
And
then
then it's
we,
and then
she
it,
goes to
and
the
then it's
first trial at the end.
she's in yeah, she's the first trial is mentioned starting whatever at the end of 35, but
I
then
thought
we
she cleans the floor before the first trial, but maybe not.
mm-mm.
With the Autumn Queen.
Yeah, I think that's later.
Where's the name scene? Isn't that here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 311 is the name. And then Lucian, and then she gets the riddle.
Because she saves Lucian from something, right? That she gets
Yeah.
him.
Okay. Yeah. So, and
Yeah, because
then then
she asks Lucian her name.
yes.
And she's like, I thought you would have learned your lesson, Lucian, though this time your silence will damn you as much as your own tongue. I suppose your handsome brothers know Lucian. Yeah, Rich, she's gonna fuck up Lucian, and that's when Feyre says her name.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So the name, the riddle, and leaving to go to the first trial is 35. 36 is the trial. 37 is when she makes the bargain with Rhys. Oh, and then she's scrubbing the floor in 38. For some reason, yeah, I had that place somewhere totally different.
All right, so we'll dissect all of Lucian next week.
Yes, we love our Lucian episodes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
See you
exciting.
next
Okay,
week.
well, so to the stars who listen, we will see you next week.
See you next week.